All right, let's get right into it. We are talking about the ultimate fuel source. I mean, the one thing that could actually unlock the stars for humanity. But, and this is a big but, it comes with a price tag and a level of danger that are just almost impossible to even wrap your head around. So today, we're breaking down the physics, the incredible promise, and the terrifying peril of what's called the Annihilation Engine.
Yeah, that quote really says it all, doesn't it? The most explosive and expensive substance in the universe? And look, we're not talking about some far-off sci-fi concept here. This stuff is real. It exists. And it is unbelievably powerful.
And yet, for all that danger, all that cost, this one substance might be our only real shot. I mean, it holds the key to finally breaking free from our own solar system and becoming a truly interstellar species. Seriously, without it, the stars, they're probably just going to stay pretty pictures in the sky, forever out of reach.
Just look at these numbers. This really puts the problem into perspective, right? Our very best chemical rockets, the pinnacle of what we have now, would take around 75,000 years to get to Alpha Centauri. 75,000 years. With an antimatter engine, we could potentially do it in 40. We're talking about the difference between a complete fantasy and something that could happen within a single human lifetime. That's not just an improvement, it's a total game changer.
So why are we so trapped in our own cosmic backyard? Well, the first part of the problem is something physicists call the tyranny of distance. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Space is just mind-bogglingly, unimaginably huge. And our current tech has slammed right into a fundamental wall.
And this is that wall, the tyranny of the rocket equation. It's this vicious, frustrating cycle. To go faster, you need more fuel. Okay, simple enough. But wait, that fuel adds weight, a lot of weight. So now you need even more fuel just to push the fuel you already added. It's why our biggest rockets are basically just giant flying fuel tanks with a tiny little capsule on top. We've pretty much squeezed every last drop of performance we can get out of chemistry.
So to break out of that loop, you don't just need a slightly better rocket. You need a whole new kind of fuel. Something with an energy density so ridiculously high that the rocket equation almost becomes irrelevant. And folks, that's where antimatter steps onto the stage.
So what is this stuff exactly? Well, you can think of it as matter's mirror image. It's evil twin, if you will. For every particle we know, like a proton or an electron, there's an antiparticle that's identical but with the opposite charge. And here's the crazy part. When they touch, they don't just burn or explode in some chemical way. No, they completely vanish. They annihilate each other, converting 100% of their mass into pure, raw energy. We're talking E equals mc squared in its most perfect form. And again, I have to stress, this is not science fiction. The idea was first predicted way back in 1928, just from the math in Paul Dirac's equations. A few years later, boom, we actually found the first antiparticle in cosmic rays. By the 1950s, we were making our own in particle accelerators. Antimatter is a real, proven part of our universe.
Okay, this chart right here, this is everything. This tells the whole story. A chemical reaction, like burning rocket fuel, is just shockingly inefficient. It converts a tiny, tiny fraction of a percent of mass into energy. Even nuclear fusion, the literal power source of the sun, only converts less than 1%. Antimatter? 100%. It's not just better, it is quite literally the most perfect, energy-dense fuel that physics allows.
And to put that into perspective for you, just 1 single gram of this stuff, a gram, reacting with a gram of normal matter would unleash the energy of a major nuclear bomb, a 43 kiloton explosion. We are talking about a civilization-altering amount of power packed into something you could hold in the palm of your hand. Okay, so if it's so perfect, so powerful, why aren't we zipping around the galaxy in starships right now? Well, this is where reality hits, and it hits hard. We're about to run into 2 of the biggest, most monumental engineering challenges humanity has ever even thought about facing. First up, the price tag. $62.5 trillion for 1 gram. Let that sink in. That's more than half the economic output of the entire planet for a whole year. Just that number right there makes the whole thing sound completely impossible, right? And the reason it costs so much? It's because we are absolutely, fantastically terrible at making it. You take the biggest, most powerful particle accelerator in the world, at CERN, you have it do nothing but make antimatter 24/7, and in a whole year you might get a few nanograms. A nanogram is a billionth of a gram.
At that rate, making a single gram would take, hundreds of millions of years. So, yeah, we've got a bit of a production problem.
So, it all boils down to two colossal problems. First, production. It is just absurdly inefficient. It's like spending $1 billion worth of energy to create $1 worth. And second, containment. I mean, even if you could somehow make it, where do you put it? You can't just put it in a bottle. The second it touches anything made of normal matter, poof. Both are gone in a flash of gamma rays.
So how do you hold something you can't touch? Well, the leading idea is basically a magnetic bottle. It's called a penning trap. The idea is you use these ridiculously powerful magnetic fields to literally levitate the charged antiparticles, pushing them away from the walls. Then you use electric fields to act like caps on the ends so they don't leak out. And you do all of this in a perfect, ultra-cold vacuum near absolute zero, just to be safe. You're building a container made of pure force.
Okay, let's play pretend for a second. Let's say we figure out production, we figure out containment. How do you actually turn that little ball of bottled lightning into an engine that pushes a spaceship forward?
Well, engineers have a few different designs on the drawing board. You can compare them by something called specific impulse, which is basically just a fancy term for fuel efficiency. You could use a tiny pinch of antimatter to superheat a chunk of metal, or a gas to get thrust. And yet, that's better than a chemical rocket, but it's not the interstellar breakthrough we need. You could even use it to set off tiny fusion explosions. But the real prize, the holy grail, the one that actually gets us to another star, is the beam core engine.
See, the beam core engine, that is the true Starship drive. It's pure antimatter propulsion. Instead of just using the annihilation to heat something else up, you take the actual high-speed particles that are created in that explosion, they're called pions, and you use a magnetic nozzle to shoot them straight out the back. This is the concept. This is the one that could push a ship to 10, 20, maybe even 50% of the speed of light.
And that incredible power brings us to the final, and maybe the most difficult, part of this whole story. We have to talk about the profound ethical choice that comes packaged with this kind of godlike technology. I mean, look at the promise. It is staggering. With just a few milligrams of antimatter, a trip to Mars could take weeks, not months. It would completely revolutionize our own solar system. And with just a few grams, a 40-year journey to the nearest star becomes possible. This tech is the bridge to humanity's future out there, among the stars. But here's the terrifying catch. As the source material puts it, and this is just chilling, the same physics that enables a starship enables the ultimate weapon. An antimatter engine is, by its very definition, an antimatter bomb. Think about it. The containment field that harnesses all that power, if it fails, it's not just an engine malfunction. It's a detonation on a scale we can barely imagine. And this leads to this really profound and kind of scary idea from astrobiology called the Great Filter. The theory goes that somewhere along the path from simple life to a galaxy-spanning civilization, there's a hurdle, a filter, that's so hard to get past that almost nobody makes it. And some people wonder, maybe this is it. Maybe mastering an energy source powerful enough for star travel is the test. The power to leave your homeworld is also, necessarily, the power to obliterate it. So that leaves us with the ultimate question. It's not just about physics or economics anymore. It's about us. It's about our wisdom as a species. If we ever actually build this annihilation engine, will it launch a golden age for humanity, or will it be our final act? That is the choice this technology would one day force us to make.